My name is Father Pat Brennan. I'm the retreat director here by God's good grace, and very happy to welcome you here. Very happy to welcome you to this very special weekend. Let me open with a couple of remarks. First of all, none of you are here by accident. And even if you think you know why you're here, that might not be why you're here. You might think you're here because Rory got a hold of you and said, I had a revelation and God told me you're supposed to come, and if you don't come, you're going to hell. So maybe that's why you said yes. No, that's not why you're here. You might be here because you have good friends who are here, and you didn't want to miss out with your good friends, and that's not why you're here. Every one of us is here because the Lord wants you here, Himself. Not as a whole group, but as an individual person dearly loved by God. He wants you here to be with Him. This is your retreat with the Lord. Now, we're a team, we have a theme, we do things that we hope you like, and we think about this theme. We've been doing it many, many times all year long, but that's not what's going to make the retreat for you. The retreat will be a good retreat based on what you do with the Holy Spirit. How you take time to listen to the Lord. How you take time to sit still before the Blessed Sacrament and just open your heart. How you take time to open God's holy word and read. You see, now what we do, we hope complements that, but we have evaluations for us and what we do. They're all fine, they're all, it's all great, I'm all for it. But that's not what makes it a good retreat. What you do makes it a good retreat. And what you take time to do. So if you turn off your cell phones and leave them off, you're going to be really serious about this weekend. If you snuggled work in thinking, well, I got to do this work, well, then you're kind of kidding yourself. Because the Lord wants you to be here with Him. So that's why you're here. And that's why I'm sure glad you're here. Another comment I like to make before I go into a couple of other things is, and some of it might be a little bit, I'm trying to remember what I shared with the men out at St. Pat's, and it's very exciting to have so many of you here. It's remembering an event that took place when we had high school seniors here from U of D. They were coming to do community service. And Roz, who coordinates volunteers and facility and all of that, asked me to come in and say a little bit to these seniors. Here they are, all high school boys, all sizes, shapes, everything. And I'm supposed to tell them what we do here. Well, the last thing I was going to do is say, well, we bring here people here and we tell them to be quiet and we give a lot of sermons. Because that would clinch it. They would never want to step foot in here ever again. So I said a little prayer. It was just after Las Vegas. I'm not talking about hockey. Although that's kind of miraculous. The fact that the Blues aren't in there is really a great penance that I'm trying to deal with my spiritual director. Has not been easy. But anyway, now I have hope in the Cardinals. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so I said a little prayer and I looked at the boys there and I said, well, I'll tell you all what we do here. We try to help people to not lose their souls. And they're just kind of looking at me like, never heard about that on the internet, And I said, what do I mean? I said, well, first of all, a person's losing his soul when when that person forgets how precious their life is as they stand before Almighty God. We've got a lot of people walking around who don't think their life is really worth a lot. Maybe it's measured by what they do or how they look or what they have, but they've forgotten how precious they are as individual persons. You start to lose your soul when you forget who you are and how precious your life is. A person is losing their soul when they forget who God is. They forget who God is as a personal, intimate God, not some force or power out there, this strange whatever, a power greater than me, but I don't know who it is, and I'm just saying, yeah, I'll kind of believe. But they don't know God intimately through Jesus. They don't know God as a divine lawgiver, and they think what governs the world is how people vote. And that they have forgotten that there is an inherent divine truth about things, and life, and faith, and everything else. You forget that, you're losing your soul. And then people are losing their soul when they forget that every single human being is their brother and sister. Everyone is their brother and sister. Even people that are threatening, like Muslims who can come into the country, or people who are undocumented, or people who are being bombed out and they're running. And this is not a political reality. I'm naming populations of people, and those people are my brothers and sisters. And when I forget how precious my life is, when I forget who God is, and when I forget that every person is my brother and sister, I'm losing my soul. So it's not hard for me to imagine a guy who can make lots and lots of money selling real estate, doesn't have very good human relations, probably doesn't relate well with people for whatever reason. It's not hard to imagine a guy like that can go and gamble hundreds of thousands of dollars like it's a game, who could, without too much trouble, figure out how to turn a semi-automatic weapon into an automatic weapon, and then devise a plan where he could bust out a window and shoot at people as if they're paper ducks at a country fair. And they wanted to do all this sociological analysis and test the skin tissue to find out how he could. I'll tell you how he did it. I'll tell you why he did it. He lost his soul. He lost his soul. He forgot who he was as a person. He forgot who God was in his life and in the world. He forgot that life is precious. Everyone is precious. So here I'm telling these high school seniors, I must say it didn't really motivate them to work very hard. They were washing windows, standing there going, thinking about their girlfriend, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how well you can wash windows when you're thinking about your girlfriend.
Not that good.
Not that good. You know, I'm not asking you. I don't want to talk about that. But I'll tell you, I think they were listening. They were listening. And that's why you're here too. We have a theme, we do the best we can, but you're here to remember how precious you are as you are in God's sight. How precious your faith is and what a difference that makes. Who God is in your life in a real way. Not just as somebody observing and judging, but walking with you. And relationships that sometimes we don't worry about or bother with. They're all sacred. And they all don't look good. They all don't work out well. And sometimes it's a mess, but it's all sacred. Because Christ is in every one of those people. So that's what we do here. Now, I hope all of the men who came here for the first time know that we have silence during this retreat. It's a silent retreat. And I want to talk about that because that's important. That's important, huh? Our holy founder, St. Paul of the Cross, this place is named after him. He's the founder of the Passionist community. We're very proud of who he is. Great mystic. In the 1700s, great mystic, had tremendous experiences as if he was standing right at the cross itself. Had a tremendous love for Christ crucified. He didn't come from as crazy and noisy a world as you come from, and yet he had a tremendous love for solitude. To just go where you can be still and quiet. Why? Why do we invite you to that silence? Because, men, when you're quiet, and you do it long enough so that you're quiet on the inside, you start to hear God in a way you don't hear him when you're out there in the world with all the noise. It could even be holy noise, but it's noise. And what we're able and blessed to do is to invite you to come here and just let it all go and just be silent and be still. It begins by not talking. That's just the beginning of silence. So unless we tell you otherwise, everywhere except in the assembly room, which is the room next to the dining room where you ate. You can go in there anytime you want, day or night, anytime, and sit down and talk, have a cup of coffee, do whatever. Everywhere else, in the lobby, in the hallway, when we're not around to see you. Walking down the hall and there's nobody there, just you and your friend. There are people in those rooms. No talking. Now, prudence dictates if you're walking outside and feel free, great weather, and you're talking with your friends, talk together, but if somebody's keeping silence, respect their silence and let them walk by, and I think there'll be people building the bonfire out there. Well, that's all fine. I'm in favor of that. But keep the noise down because the noise carries into those rooms. Now, the silence is to give you a chance to listen to the Lord. It begins by not talking. When you leave your room, close the door quietly. Walk slowly. You don't have to run. Walk slowly. Chew your food and taste it. And just be still. You see, you start getting silent on the inside. Something happens. You hear what you wouldn't ordinarily hear. So we invite you to that silence. And finally, a special prayer. Now, I'm going to talk about special intentions. When you go in the chapel tonight, and you will be at 9 o'clock, we'll have Mass, I'll be there with you. You'll see this beautiful crucifix on the wall. Make this special prayer, or your version of it, that I would like you to pray throughout the whole weekend. It's a very passionist prayer. We're passionists. We wear this over our heart. It's a very passionist prayer. And it goes like this. Dear Lord, this weekend, I want nothing for myself. Imagine that. What's this crazy priest think I came here for? Lord, I want nothing for me. All I ask is that you bless whoever my brother on this retreat is that most needs your grace. Because you see, that man is here. And you might not even meet him or even imagine who he is, but we will. He's here. He might have gotten some bad news about his health or his wife's health, who he loves more than himself, and he can do nothing about it. That man is here. He might have a son or a daughter who's out there drinking or drugging, and every morning he wakes up and he feels sick to his stomach because he doesn't know whether that son or daughter is dead or alive, whether they're on a street corner somewhere or OD'd in an alley. I'm telling you, that man is in this room. Trust me. So how beautiful is it for you to say, Lord, I'm here with you. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Just bless whoever my brother on this retreat is, and I'll be fine. That's a great prayer. That's a great prayer to say over and over again on this retreat. And the funny thing is, when we do that, the more we empty ourselves, the more the Lord seems to fill us up.